That was the scene last night at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, or as everyone else prefers to call it, the Swamp, because Ben Hill Griffin is way too long of a name for a damn stadium. Once again, fans of the Florida Gators, they are calling for Bill Napier to be fired. Now, obviously, I don't follow Florida closely. I know some of you guys are fans because you have been bombarding my email inbox since last night about this. But this Florida program, it hasn't been relevant for years, mainly because your head coach is an incompetent disaster. I seem to remember hearing calls for Billy Napier to be fired last year. They opened the season last year by getting their ass kicked by Miami. 2 weeks later, they got their ass kicked by Texas A&M at home. After the A&M game last year, a reporter from a site called Gator Country, who knows a hell of a lot more about this team than I do, he wrote down a list of grievances. He wrote down some areas of improvement for Bill Napier. Now, keep in mind, this list was compiled at this time last year. See if it sounds familiar. Predictable offense. Basically, Bill Napier coaches with no sense of urgency. Bill coaches not to lose instead of coaching to win. Issues on the offensive line. Now, here we are 12 months later. Florida has an All-American center and a potential NFL starter at left tackle. And the offensive line can't block a slow stream of boogers. There were complaints after the Texas A&M game last year that Bill Napier refuses to play his best players. Last but not least, Bill Napier doesn't know how to manage the clock. 4 years into Bill Napier's tenure at Florida, there has been minimal improvement. And after what happened yesterday, you could actually make a case that Florida is regressing. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channel in the description below. After the game last night, several Florida players, they came to the defense of their head coach. We like Bill. He's a nice guy. He wipes my face with a bib after I launch a loogie. Like I told you guys the other day on the main channel when we were talking about Kalen DeBoer, I don't care if players like the head coach. I don't care if they share lunch in the office or romantic dinners during the offseason. Liking the head coach, that is a bonus. I want players to respect the head coach, to fear the consequences. And it is abundantly clear that Florida players, they do not respect Billy Napier. You can like someone and not respect them. You can claim you respect someone and not actually respect them. Oftentimes, respect shows in your behavior, the way you play, the way you respond to adversity, the way you carry yourself on the field. Late in the fourth quarter yesterday, Florida gets a big stop on defense. They're about to get the ball back for a potential game-winning drive. There was just one problem. One tiny problem. One of the Florida players was, I guess, inspired by Jalen Carter from the Eagles, because after the play was over, he decided to spit on one of the South Florida players. Obviously, this resulted in a penalty, automatic first down, and the game at this point was essentially over. Now, is that Billy Napier's fault? Obviously, he can't go out there with windshield wipers and prevent the spittle from making contact. But it shows a complete lack of discipline. It shows that players are not afraid of Billy Napier. I follow Nick Saban throughout his tenure at Alabama. Obviously, I watched Saints teams under Sean Payton for the better part of 15 years. Rarely did these coaches have disciplinary problems with their players, because both Nick Saban and Sean Payton, they set the tone. They refused to deal with bullshit. Look, Not everyone is cut out to coach in the SEC. I'm sure the nice guy role worked really well when Bill Napier was coaching at something called Louisiana. The nice guy role can be effective when there is no pressure to win. But when you're coaching at Florida, there's not only pressure to win, you're expected to win. The expectation is SEC championship, then national championship. You're following in the footsteps of Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer was a tyrant. The dude was a dictator. Now, he had some disciplinary problems with players, mainly off the field, but it's amazing how things like that tend to be overlooked when you're winning national championships. Bill Napier doesn't have that luxury. He is 20-20 in 3+ seasons at Florida. And it's not just that he's losing, it's how Florida is losing. They beat themselves yesterday against South Florida, which is the only way South Florida could win the game because Florida is significantly more talented. They got their ass kicked last year against real teams. And the schedule this season is absolutely brutal. Listen to this schedule over the next 6 weeks. At LSU, at Miami, home against Texas, at Texas A&M, home against Mississippi State, and the neutral site game against Georgia. By the time we get to November, Florida could be 2-6. They could be 2-5 going into the game against Georgia. The question is, does Bill Napier make it to November? The Florida athletic director, they issued a statement last night. We are sticking with Bill. We believe in his mediocrity. You know, it's easy to issue statements like that when you're 1-1 in early September. If Florida is 2-5, or maybe even 1-5 going into their game against Georgia, I don't think Bill Napier is going to be the one leading them on the field. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.